Hello, everybody. We've got Danny and BitRush with us, and I am very pleased to announce that tomorrow will be the launch of Palace of the Golden Princess, the main campaign on Kickstarter. So, a lot of work went into that one. But first, we got some great scripts here. We got both Danny and Bit are should I call you Bit? Because I see your byline right here in your script.
Yeah, either one's fine. You can call me
My
Kyle.
line's gonna end up on
Irish.
screen for everyone soon enough, anyways.
All right, Kyler. Let's see. Show screen. So tell us about your story.
Yeah, so it's a sci-fi fantasy about like ancient origins of or ancient aliens origins. So kind of a fantasy about what could have happened. Obviously, not based on fact, other than some of the time period stuff. I have Vikings, Native Americans, and some feudalists like Japanese stuff later in the book.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So we got an action-packed sci-fi comedy exploring the origins of the ancient astronaut theory on Earth. Who would you like to narrate?
You can narrate. That's cool.
Okay, and then we got frame one, narrator. Boy, that's a fair amount of narration.
That's
just the first two pages.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have a Kana. And then. All right, who wants to? Okay, Kana's got a lot of things to say.
So I guess that's my problem now.
I guess so. Okay. All right, Kana, let's get going here. Frame one, large, light blue colored moon exploding into the center of frame. Pieces shattered in various sizes surround the main image. Space background with several visible plants and stars. Narration caption. In a distant galaxy known as the Cluster live several races of people who have been fighting for control of the most valuable resource known as jewels, which powers their world's technology. Many millennia ago, the Aku tried to harvest a large mining moon known as Suki 93 by pressurizing it. The result was disastrous, destroying the entire moon, which exploded, sending shards of the jewels throughout the solar system. Since this time, many tribes have risen to power and fallen apart. It has been long since the time of peace, and today there are several tribes fighting for control of the cluster throughout the remnants of the ancients' technology and
your mic cut out.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. What part do I need to reread?
I think you're actually good.
Okay,
you
good.
Cut out around like the power of the jewels.
No, then it was fine. All right. Page 2, frame 1. Planet at center of the frame should be a planet from the previous frame's background. Narrator caption. On the planet of Rake lives an advanced race of the galaxy's elite warriors known as the Shinobi. Trained from birth to fight, they travel to distant galaxies in search of rare jewels. Yeah, made a little bigger. Let me widen it up a little bit. There we go. Rake's hierarchy is based on a warrior's accolades in battle. The more battles a warrior has won, the higher their status. Frame 2. Shinobi Kana loading his medium-sized spaceship with jewels. Background is a decorative landscape of purple and pink mountains. Ship size fits 2 in the cockpit and a few passengers aboard, plus enough room for cargo. Once a warrior reaches the elite status and the title of Shinobi, they may venture off the planet of mining expeditions and special missions. Frame 3, Kana's spaceship takes off. Frame 4, Kana's ship is being pursued by 2 Aqua ships smaller than his own.
I knew this mission was going too smoothly. It looks like the Aqua were just waiting for me to finish loading up my hull.
Frame 5. Kane's ship heads towards a large asteroid field as his pursuers fire at his ship.
They won't take me easily. Let's see how good they really are.
Page 3, Frame 1. Kane's spaceship flies upside down through the asteroid field as a shot from his enemies hits the back of his ship. Well, that doesn't sound good.
I'm not going down without a fight.
Frame 2. Khan's ship nosedives out of an asteroid field as one of his pursuers' ship explodes on an asteroid.
Got one. Now for the second.
Frame 3. Still on a nosedive, Khan uses brakes to halt his new smoking ship, and Akua is now in front. Motion lines signify the Akua ship moving fast as Khan has stopped.
Not so fast, Aqua scum.
Frame 4. Khan's ship shoots at the Aqua. Frame 5. Aqua's ship explodes from the impact of Khan's attack.
Hua ha 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 ha.
Page 4. Close-up of Kana inside his ship. Kana transmission. Shinobi Kana to rake. Oh,
That's
I'm
me,
sorry. That is you. That is absolutely.
Shinobi Kana to rake mission control. I've been hit and my ship is losing power fast. I'm sending my coordinates now.
Frame 2. Kana's ship entering the outer atmosphere of Earth, still smoking from the rear.
I'm going to attempt an emergency landing on a nearby planet.
Frame 3. Kana's ship passes over northern Europe, Scandinavia with a fireball surrounding his ship and smoking heavily. Frame 4. A Viking mystic looking upward at the distant fireball of a ship.
I'll do that one, I guess. An omen from the gods.
Frame 5. An Incan shaman sitting on top of a pyramid's temple taking a bite of a mushroom. Frame 6. Seen from the perspective of a shaman, Kane's ship passes over South America, now with even more flames than before and psychedelic colors and tracers surrounding the ship.
The gods have answered us with the messenger. We must seek his counsel and wisdom.
Frame 7. Kana's ship crashes into the ocean with a large splash. Splash. Page 5.
Should add a sound effect.
In the center of a large, futuristic fighting arena, two warriors can be seen engaged in battle, something like a Roman Colosseum with a futuristic touch. Fans cheer. One warrior is our main character, Shinobi Ryu, in full armor. Opponent also has different armor on. Back on rate. Before reaching the level of elite, each warrior must prove themselves in the fighting arenas. Here, warriors put themselves up against other warriors to see who is superior. Frame 2, Ryu jumps over his opponent, avoiding a sword blow. Frame 3, Ryu counters with a sword strike of his... Frame 3, Ryu counters with a sword strike of his own, which connects with his opponent's armor. Frame 4, Ryu stands over opponent with arms raised in victory as the crowd cheers. Raising through the ranks required not only fighting skills, but also the most advanced technology for weapons and armor. Page 6, panel 1, man sitting in control room behind a large futuristic screen wearing a military-style uniform with headset on.
Transmission received. I'm downloading your coordinates now. What is the state of your craft? Shinobi Kana, do you copy?
Frame 2, control room operator from previous frame talking with another uniformed subordinate. Operator?
You want to do that one, Danny?
Sure. Shinobi Kana's mission is compromised. We've lost all communications and his craft has been damaged. Get his father immediately. Shinobi Rin will want to be informed of his son's last known whereabouts.
Yes, sir. I'm on it.
Frame 3. Second operator talking with Shinobi Rin outside of the fighting arena. Shinobi Rin is a middle-aged man with a bald head wearing robes to indicate his status on the High Council as the leader.
Sir, some bad news.
Frame 4, close up on the operator and Rin, both in frame, talking.
Your son Shinobi Kana's ship has been damaged in battle. He was shot down by a fleet of Akua mercenaries. We believe him to still be alive, and we have received a transmission with his last known coordinates.
I understand. Is that all?
That's all the information we have at this time, sir.
Frame 5, close up of Rin looking sad but trying to mask his emotions.
Thank you, officer. You are dismissed. Wah.
Page 7. Ryu is sitting on a bench in the locker room of the arena watching a playback of his fight on a large screen. Ryu is now wearing only his street clothes consisting of robes and baggy ninja pants. Rin can be seen on the edge of the frame.
Did you see that finish? I used the jump counter just like we've been working on. Where were you anyway? You know, most of the trainers stay to the end of their apprentice's battle. I bet you never left in the middle of one of Kana's fights.
Frame 2, close up on Shinobi Ren talking.
Ryo, enough. I received some bad news about your brother, and I've come to inform you. Kana's craft was shot down on his recent mission. He is believed to be alive, but Mission Control has lost communications. He was too far from the cluster, and we don't have the manpower to send a rescue mission.
He is believed? All right. No, okay, you're right. Yeah. Frame 3, Shinobi Ryo and Shinobi Ren standing face to face.
What do you mean? We're not sending a search party?
No, Ryo. Your brother knew the risks. He is well trained. I'm sure he'll be fine. We'll just have to hope he can make his repairs to his ship. Make the repairs to his ship.
Yeah. Frame 4, Ryo storms out of the locker room with back turned to Ren.
You're unbelievable. He's your own son, and you can't spare the men?
Frame 5, locker room door slamming. Page 8, frame 1, announcer with futuristic microphone stands in the center of the battle arena. Packed crowd, fans are cheering. Announcer looks like a former fighter himself with very minimalist armor on. 4 years later.
Today's final bout will determine which warrior reaches elite status, gaining the shinobi title and access to off-world adventures in the glory of Rake.
Yay. Close up of Ryo in his corner with Ren at his back.
In the blue corner, Ryo, son of the hero of Rake himself, Shinobi Rin, and brother of former champion Shinobi Kana.
Yay! Frame 3, close up on Ryo's opponent, wearing fancy gold armor and much larger and stronger looking than Ryo. Has 3 trainers behind him, all wearing fancy attire like they are very wealthy.
In the red corner, fighting out of the famous Tatsu camp, we have the undefeated fan favorite, Aite, who looks like he's recently upgraded his armor.
Fancy armor won't stop me. Nothing's going to stop me from winning.
Yay!
Let's get this battle started.
Let's get ready to rumble. Both fighters now in the center of the arena. It lunges forward toward Ryu, attempting a wrestling takedown, shoot, tackle. Arrgh. Frame 5, Ryu counters the attack, landing a big knee on It's head, sending him backwards. Motion and action lines surround the action.
Kiha!
Frame 6, Ryu presses his opponent with a flying side kick to his chest. The strike lands hard.
I'll not be as easily defeated as those weaklings your camp set you up with to get you here.
Page 9, frame 1. It punches at Ryu. Ryu blocks, ready to counter strike with a punch of his own. Frame
job that is.
2, Ryu lands his counter strike to the head of It. It's helmet flies off with blood spattering from his mouth. Ryu jumps up high in the air, ready to land on It, who is now on his back.
For Kata!
Frame 4, Ryu lands with his knee on It's chest and another hard fist to the face. Blood from It's nose flies as Ryu's fist strikes hard. A boom crack. Frame 5, Ryo standing over Ity's knocked out body with his hands raised in victory, announcer on the side of the frame.
It looks like we have a winner. What a battle. Rio with the win.
Frame 6, Ryo standing at the stage with a few other warriors, announcer standing at the podium in the center of the stage.
Let's give a big hand to this year's Shinobi. They'll be representing Rake throughout the galaxy and beyond. That voice
Now
is
to
really
find my
wonderful.
brother Kana.
Page 10, Frame 1, Ryo pulling coins and jewels from a small safe.
I've been saving for a long time. I hope this is enough for a ship and supplies.
Frame 2, Ryo walking through crowded streets.
Now that I have off-world access, I need a ship.
Frame 3, inside space pirate hangar, Ryo stands in a hangar full of spacecraft, one large and a few smaller ships. Cargo boxes surround the hangar. A small group of space pirates are talking with Ryo.
I've got enough for the smallest one. Fuel it up and have it ready.
The fuel costs extra.
Just have it ready to fly by tonight.
Frame 4, Ryo back in the city streets, a wagon dealer, and Ryo back in the city streets at a wagon dealer.
Weapon.
Ryo back in the city streets at a weapons dealer in the market. Suits of armor and swords and other weapons are on display. Ryo looks at his hand with only 2 coins in it.
I could really use some new armor, but I've only got enough for food and supplies. I should have saved more.
All right, that's 10 pages. So
There's only 11. Do you want to do one more? Or?
Ryo with a small pack enters the pirate's hangar. Frame 2, Ryo packs his bag and supplies into his ship. Small pack of food, bottles of water, and a few jewels. The space pirate captain watches. Ship size fits 2 people in cockpit.
I need to leave undetected.
The planetary radar won't pick up a ship this size. That's why we use them.
Good. I leave as soon as I'm packed.
Frame 3, Ryo's small spacecraft is in flight, heading deeper into space. The planet of Rake can be seen as a small planet in the distance below, with motion lines and fire trails indicating that he left from that direction.
I'm coming for you, Kana.
I mean, I knew he was that time.
Yeah,
Okay, so we have are they brothers? Are they brothers?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. I did it for the glory of Rake. So we got some adventurous brothers, very alpha male types, who are continually besting opposition when it comes to space combat and martial combat. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some day saving, and that's awesome, particularly when it's in space. What do you think, Gavin?
Okay, yep, there was definitely action. This very successfully introduced what I'm sure is a randomized NFT property of some kind.
So it's actually for an arcade. So I'm building an arcade game, kind of like a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter.
Oh, neat.
And
Okay.
so this is the backstory of like how the main character, 1, comes to Earth, and then 2, like the story of the tournament itself that he ends up fighting in for the game, and then a bunch of the other characters that will end up being in there. So
Okay.
and it may be an NFT too, but
Maybe.
Okay.
But
I mean, there's easier ways to do that.
yeah, but I mean, a video game is cool.
Yeah. So, you've got people fighting on Earth for some reason.
And in space. Oh, wait.
And also, you have a bunch of space alien ninjas who are going to be fighting on Earth, I suspect.
Wait, was that fight on Earth? Like
Yeah, he's going to Earth to go find his brother.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which
The fight was
means-
on Rake.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone's a ninja.
Yes.
I'm assuming everyone's a ninja.
well, so later on in the book, he meets a wolf princess.
Is the
And
wolf
then
princess
there-
also a ninja?
No, she's just a badass Viking. And then there's a like Native American style fighter, like an Incan warrior. There's some Amazon chicks. So there's a range of people, but
Okay, so it's a fighting game from 1991.
No, 1400s.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the action's fine. There is gestures towards drama that are appropriate.
Mhm.
You introduce the fighting concept probably more than you need to. But you introduce like at least 3 characters reasonably well.
Right.
So if that's what you're going for, you've done it.
Yeah. Yep. And then we get more into like the story of like the tournament and all that. So right now I have 5 total books. So it'll be a graphic novel for like the whole first season is basically how it will go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of constructives,
Well, we got one here.
don't-
It seemed like a lot of dialogue, not per page, but per frame sometimes.
that's certainly a thing. The dialogue and the narration are repetitive and very much on the nose. Like we don't need 4 scenes explaining that the dude from the intro is on Earth. We need like 1 scene where the guy's like, "Oh, where were you, master?" and he explains it. And so that was somewhat inefficient.
Okay. Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then the other
although
one's like,
although the aliens are not going to call Earth Earth, right? They're going to call
yeah,
something.
sure,
Yeah.
some backwater planet in the middle of the
Something
galaxy,
exactly.
wah wah wah. And then yeah, so that was
You're saying the
it had more
operator?
tournament, more characters, more fighting. I mean, I don't want to disparage the concept because there's nothing actually wrong with what you've got going on.
No, it seems serviceable.
Like
I
there
think,
are other
yes.
ways to do the concept that I think would be more effective, but that's a you problem, and this is clearly your creative direction. So like maybe start more with the action instead of the introduction, right? Like you need to introduce that there's jewels.
Yeah.
But why not have people like I don't know. Off the top of my head, maybe those got introduced by the announcer when someone's doing a superpower in the middle of a fight. Right?
Okay.
Oh, he used his jewel to Hadoken.
Mm.
And then you just explain that that's how you get your superpowers and that they do something. You can sort of get on with it. Instead of going all Star Wars at the beginning, I think that might be a lot more effective. Because if this is a fighting game, nobody cares about the story. Right? They want an excuse to know who these characters are and what they want.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would think what would happen if we opened on page 4 instead of on page 1? Right? Like that whole opening scene of brother in the spaceship fighting the bad people, and then we leave him and we don't see him again for I don't know how long. What if we just lost that and we open with the street fight on Rake and because he's explaining that he has to go get his brother, and I
think that would be a really punchy intro.
Yeah.
Instead of a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Right. You just open in like a space street fight.
Yeah.
UFC kind of UFC meets aliens street fight, and then the guy explains or whatever, or gets the fact that finally he gets the fight. I think he's prize fighting, so it seems like he needs the money in order to buy a spaceship to get his brother, and he's explaining all those things. And if because he is explaining all these things, he can just explain that his brother has been missing in some other part of the galaxy, and he's got to go find him.
This is assuming that the old master isn't already a character in the fighting game.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that would be.
Yeah, I guess it kind of is repetitive because you see him crashing, and then the operator says that he crashes, and then he tells the dad that he crashes, and then the dad tells the brother. I guess I could definitely
If
relate.
you're trying to establish that dude crashed a spaceship, then I
Yeah.
mean, you did that.
Yeah,
And then later on, the guy's kind of explaining, "No, I got to go get my brother." So, yeah, I don't feel that there's a ton of drama in the space fight. The space fight feels kind of generic. You know, I've seen asteroid field duels before. I know that the hero is never going to actually hit a rock, nor lose the fight. Really. What I can tell you is that the asteroid field of our solar system is so sparsely populated that you would not know you were in it if you were just flying through it.
I am willing to accept this deviation from reality for the purposes of improved fiction.
Exactly, yes.
As I think is anyone who does a sci-fi concept.
Right.
I mean, I wrote an asteroid field scene sort of a few months ago.
There you go.
You just have to do that sometimes.
Sometimes you just need lots of space.
Like, I'm in space. I just need a rock. Let's go to the asteroid field.
There you go.
You don't think that I need the background of the solar system and the Kua versus the Shinobi or because that's kind of why I have that in there. I think maybe.
Do you think that's going to sell people on any of your character designs? Because it sounds like it doesn't look like any of your character designs, nor does it have any fighting. And this is a fighting game.
Well, so later in the story, the like Dragon Master on Earth ends up being an Akua guy.
Okay, I'm a big fan of fighting games. What sells your fighting game is the character select screen and the images of the characters that sort of tell you about what kind of person they are.
Nice.
Right? So this is your opportunity to expand on that, put it in a story that's high drama. And, tell us more about what they want or how they do.
Look, what if instead of the space battle, because you want the space battle because it establishes the Akua are bad, but what if the brother is it a brother?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. What if the brother is like, no, I got to get off of break and I got to get to this other system where the Akua scum who have been horrible, and he just how
my brother is the only one defending it.
Yeah, people they hate certain groups all the time, and they'll go into explicit detail about how much they don't like them and how bad people they are. So you certainly have an avenue to educate us about who the Akua are. I just feel like you could save the real estate. You don't need those 4 pages or however long the space battle is.
Yeah, like basically the first 3, I think. But I could probably cut out half a page from the operator too, and just have him tell the dad, like receive the transmission, then tell the dad.
Right. You don't need the operator at all. You just have the dad appear. You never see the dad from before then.
Right. And look, I would say this, right? My opinion. When the reader has questions, they tend to be more immersed, right? If they see something and they're like, well, what's that? Well, now they want to know, and then later, if you tell them what that thing was, it gives them a sense of satisfaction, like, oh, I got my question answered. That's so cool. So if you start off and you're showing them something familiar, which is, a UFC match, but at the same time not familiar because it's on a different world and they're fighting aliens, you have an opportunity to start and the audience thinks they know what's going on, but then they see these other elements and they don't know what's going on. They're like, what's that? Why is it? But you explain it to them, and now they're more engaged in the scene. They're like, oh, look at that. It's like UFC with aliens. You just stick up in the bad guys who, from other planets, and the Akua are bad. All that, So, I mean, for that matter, if you really want to establish the Akua are bad, why doesn't he fight an Akua in the ring?
Well, because they're on their own planet.
Okay.
Right, so the Akua are from a different planet.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But I don't know. That would be all right, as it stands. Yeah, as it stands. The story, I think, feels a bit generic. Like these scenes, I have, I've seen ships in asteroid fields. I've seen bad guys blowing up. I've seen people going, "You're not going to get me." I haven't seen an alien UFC battle before, and that has a lot of potential. And that is exactly what your game wants to showcase anyway. So if we just spend more time there, I think mission accomplished in terms of what your comic is supposed to be doing. So I don't know. The more I go over my suggestion of losing the first 3 pages, the more I like it. But that's where I'm at right now. Danny?
Obviously, I agree. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, like, why? If someone's already given you their money, why are you, making them wait to get to the interesting part? If someone wants to fight their friend in a fighting game, are you going to sit them through a Star Wars opening that they can't skip? No, you don't do that. Right? So take the same approach with the comic. Like, get into it, show the fighting, show the characters, show more characters doing cooler things.
It's funny because originally I kind of did start more in the story, and I came back and added that early part to do more storytelling. Because the only thing I'm stuck on with that, I like that idea. I just need to figure out another way now to introduce more the background, because that's the whole point of the comic anyway, right? Is to give the backstory of like.
No one said to get rid of the announcer is one start.
Right. Yep.
No one had a problem with the announcer. Like the radio operator was sort of a waste of space. The announcer was fine. So there's that, and then you can just do it through dialogue. I can't let you win because that way I can't do this thing I really want to do. Bam, drama and motivation in one sentence.
Cool. Yeah.
Like you can have people talk to each other while they're fighting. That's very normal in comics.
Yeah.
And people don't write that enough, and it makes things better.
Yeah. All right, Danny, tell us about
what. So this is the Dead Babies Project.
Oh, can't wait.
This is chapter 2 of the Dead Babies Project, or issue 2.
But did I read issue 1?
Sorry?
Have we seen issue 1?
We've seen issue 1. Issue 1's the one where they go to the market.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Three,
this isn't Reckless Child Nature.
Yes, this is.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So issue 3 is the one with the crazy nightmare house, and we also read the short story that I've already done that is technically a part of here right now. So what we have is actually a couple of pages leading up to that, and then a few pages afterwards for a total of 8 pages. Because the short is 8 pages, and it's just not here. We're not reading the script because it's old.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure. So this is...
Okay,
I was about to say this is Reckless Child Endangerment issue 2, but maybe
this is Reckless Child Endangerment issue 2.
Oh, okay.
This is a comic you already have, or?
It's a comic I have bits of. We're in production.
He's in development,
and my process for this has been to write scripts very randomly by whatever scenes are most interesting to me at the time. Which is why it's been a bit all over the place.
It get words on the page, right?
I mean, yes, bringing it to the workshop, it's not in the sequential order.
Oh, okay.
Because we did what, issue 1, and then we did the short story, which is I guess part of this now. Then we did issue 3 like a couple weeks ago, and now we're back to the rest of issue 2 mostly.
Yeah.
So, Bet, do you want to do the narrator?
Yeah, I'll narrate it.
Okay, and we've really got 2 protagonists, so I guess, Preston, do you want to be Gavin or Priviel?
I'll be Gavin.
Okay, so we'll have Bit be Priviel, and then I'll do everybody else.
Okie doke. All right, narrator.
Panel 1, exterior, Crowgate, Main Street, evening. Grinolette is hitched to a post outside the Broken Shield Tavern, a reasonably classy establishment. In the mouth of the alley next door is a mystic stall. Abracadabra. Thank you. In the alley background, other shopkeepers are dismantling their stalls. Perville places a small pile of gold coins on the counter. The mystic peers at the symbol on the basket with a magic lens. Gavin peers at mystic items and crystals arranged on shelves. Think a Whipkin shop.
Crowgate.
Crowgate, sorry.
Cursed, you say? I don't recognize the rune. I don't see any triggered effects.
So what should I do?
Why not try to destroy it?
Panel 2, interior, Broken Shield Tavern, night. In the restaurant area of Broken Shield, Gavin and Privial toast each other. They're on the third bottle of wine. Beside them in the fireplace, a basket burns. Privial's face is red. She's pretty drunk. So's Gavin. Thanks, Gavin. I'm shocked I didn't think of this sooner.
Let's hope both our Kershish are fish easy to lift.
Panel 3, interior, Broken Shield Tavern, room, morning. Gavin and Privial sleep drunkenly late into the morning. Same bed clothes on. The innkeeper's wife bursts in through the door with incense and throws the basket at them.
She's
angry.
Incensed and throws the basket at them.
This is a respectable establishment, not a rubbish incinerator. Get out before I call the guards.
Panel 4, exterior, cliffside path, day. They're traveling on a narrow road on a high cliff, looking out over the sea. Over the water, a small red dragon tries to incinerate a flock of seagulls. The basket is tied to a heavy rock by a rope. Gavin throws the rock off the cliff's edge. The road to Bitterford. Gavin, what are you doing?
Since fire didn't work, let's just be rid of it.
Panel 5. Gavin and Privials peer over the cliff's edge. The dragon in the background flies away bored. Sound effect. Oh, sploosh. Panel 6, interior, Bitterford Arms Inn, morning. Gavin and Privial sleep in the pretty nice room, same bed clothes on, when suddenly the basket full of water, fish, and crustaceans reappear over the middle of the bed and falls down, splashing water and seafood over our heroes. They hate everything about this. Sound effects, sploosh. Gavin. Panel 7, interior, Slatebrook day. Inside a witch's shop, the Black Cauldron. Privial, irritated, hands over some money to the crone behind the counter, pointy hat and everything, who points out a location on a map. Caption, Slatebrook.
I never heard of no cure for the Black Tongue. There's a terrible monster up on Grimfang Peak at the end of the Loggers Trail.
Panel 8, Grimfang Peak day. On the pine-forested slope of the mountain, Gavin and Privial enter a boarded-up cave, mouthed with the phrase, "Beware of owl bears," faintly visible in the weather-worn paint. Caption, Grimfang Peak.
Let me go first. We don't know what kind of creature lives here.
That's if a creature lives there. Waste of 50 silver, if you're asking me.
Panel 9, but a lot of panels in this game.
Panel 9.
Yeah, these are 2 9-panel pages.
Panel 9, same shot. Gavin and Privial run, panicked and screaming, right towards the front of the frame, being chased by an owl bear. The basket is broken. Gavin holds the handle and rim. This all happens so quickly, his sword is still sheathed. A bunch of the rest of the basket is impaled on the owl bear's claws.
Why?
Faster, faster, faster.
Rah!
Page 2, panel 1, interior, Hazeldean Barn day. A small, more rural village. Gavin and Privial wake up in the empty hayloft in the barn. Gringolet sleeps on the ground level. Privial yawns and stretches. The basket hole sits near Gavin's feet. A baby starts to crawl out of it. Gavin sits up in bed, mouth agape in horror, pointing and screaming. Think invasion of the body snatchers. Caption Hazel Dean.
Baby!
I told you, Gavin, it's a cursed basket. Panel 2, Gavin now on the ground level, cradles the very cute baby in his left arm while he tightens the straps of Gringolet's saddle. In the hayloft, Privial packs the rest of their things.
I believe you now. Didn't we pass an old priority near Wenlock?
Right? I remember hearing the terse balls.
Or no, it's... What is it? Priory?
Priory.
I don't know what that means.
Sort of off monastery for friars. Monks live in a monastery.
Oh, okay.
Priors live in a priory.
I should have known.
Terce is the 3 p.m. worship service.
Okay. Wow. Okay. See, I honestly don't.
I do have degrees in medieval literature.
Okay. I don't even really have a concept of what a friar is. I know that there was one in Robin Hood's band, and I know they're religious. That's all I know.
Friars wander, whereas monks are stationary.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then everything, more details from that depend on the order that they're in.
Panel 3, exterior, Wenlock Priory, day. Gavin hands the baby wrapped in a shawl to a European-style monk at the monastery gate of the monastery. Privial hands him a small pile of coins. The monk takes the money first. Her parents caught the griffin pox, and she deserves a better life than we can give her. Panel 4, exterior, Talonmore Streets, day. A different, even smaller rural village, mostly a few key shops at the crossroads surrounded by farmland. The local witch, Agnes Elderberry's bounty of witchcraft, stands outside her workshop, inspecting the bottom of Privial's basket.
I've never seen such a mark before. Maybe it's from up north.
What about the Black Tongue? Do you know a cure?
Only Marzana knows such secrets, my dear.
Panel 5, exterior, Talonmore, outskirts, day. Gavin and Privial walk away from the town. Privial counts the few remaining coins in her purse. Too many hucksters, not enough answers. Counting the oblation fee, we're gonna be in trouble soon.
What do you mean, Priv?
We're nearly broke. Panel 6, exterior, Talonmore, farmland, day. Gavin and Privial travel up the road. Farmers, goblin and human, plow their fallows fields.
Is that unusual on quest?
Not at all. Most of my guess, we were broke from the beginning. Panel 7, exterior, Fogrest Sears Cottage, day. It's an overcast, foggy day, a rural cottage with a well-maintained garden. A seer with a broken leg and a cast leaning on a crutch talks to Privial and Gavin. The seer looks disappointed because they can't afford to pay him. Privial stomps and paces in frustration. Fogrest. 200 silver. We don't have that kind of money.
It'll be a few days of research, you see.
Panel 8, Privial leans into Gavin, crying and begging. Gavin stands aghast. Gavin, you can dodge, right? Can we pawn your armor?
Please, it's only been a month and I can't take any more of these babies.
Wait, is that the same character?
That's the same character, yeah. It's
I'm
two
sorry.
balloons, so I wrote it as 2 lines.
Okay, yeah.
Trivial, it's only been a month and I can't take any more of these babies. Panel 9, Gavin approaches the seer, dragging Privial through the dust as she hangs onto his waist. Gavin!
Good sir, perhaps if we were to perform an errand.
Why not? I need a dozen goat spider spinnerets.
Page 3, panel 1, exterior, overgrown forest, daytime. Knife in her right hand, Privial leaps from a thick branch in the canopy of an overgrown forest, launching herself at a goat spider about the size of a 10-year-old asleep on its web. FG Force Perspective, reference the Jimi Hendrix spider photo. Gotcha.
Are you experienced?
Dun dun dun.
Page 4, panel 1. Exterior overgrown forest night. Gavin and Privial are crouched on rocks around a campfire where they are roasting the spider goat. Gringolet gnaws on the goat leg. The basket is in the foreground by some underbrush. Further in the foreground, a spider web has been anchored to the silhouette of a tree.
Tell me, Trivial, how did you end up with that cursed basket?
It was on a quest. Gavin, an elf-damned quest.
Insert flashback.
Panel 13, page 13. We just went from page 3 to 13.
Yeah, there was an 8-page flashback that's already being drawn.
Okay.
That so there's no point showing script for it.
Okay.
Since it's done. And so this is the new stuff that comes after that.
All right.
Page 13, panel 1, exterior, overgrown forest, night. It started to rain lightly. Same shot continuous from page 4, panel 1. They've eaten more of the goat spider. In the foreground, a baby crawls out of the basket. A live goat spider lowers itself towards the ground from the top of the panel. Gavin and Privial can't see it, but we can.
So, this is normal.
It's better than becoming a pawn in someone else's political struggle.
I feel like I've made a horrible mistake.
Panel 2, Gavin crosses over to prepare his blankets to sleep. Privial turns to speak with him directly. Gringolet yawns. Foreground, having webbed up the baby, the goat spider begins to climb its web to drag its meal into the treetops. There's no feeling like accomplishing something because you want it.
That I understand. I'd rather be doing this than hear Paulina boast about her suitors.
Paulina?
Her life's ambition is to marry me. And my mother likes her. This is that.
Panel 3, exterior, fog rest outskirts, morning. It's still slightly rainy and overcast. The party on foot returns towards fog rest. At the horizon beyond the forest behind them begins to glow in a pre-dawn light. Gavin leads Gringolet, who drags a makeshift sledge full of dread goat spiders, view from the front of the party. And that's why you never trust techromancers. It's always a secret agenda involving reanimation, time travel, or automatons.
And there's
It never ends well, and those jobs aren't worthy the money they're written on.
Oh, wow. What's that?
Panel 4, big view from behind the party. The fog beyond the town of Fogrest starts to clear, revealing the elevated ruins, which look like someone killed a Power Ranger by smashing his head like through a glass coffee table. Except the guy in the size of Godzilla and the table used to have a city on it. The city slowly blows away like a sandcastle in the strong wind. The form of the dead giant is blurred by a century of vegetation. That's the elevated ruins.
I feel like that's a lot to put in a panel.
Yeah, it's like, what? That was a lot to read.
I had
really happy to read that.
I had no idea we were that far north. Can we visit?
Interrupting, there's an easier way to commit suicide. Do you want to be chased by ropers while dodging falling masonry and 5 square clicks of lightness swampland, or do you want to cure your people? Page 15, panel 1, exterior, Fogrest Sears cottage day. Privial struggles as she drags the bag of dead goat spiders up to the Sears hut. The Seer hobbles out of his house on his crutches. Why?
Thank you. It's hard to gather those things with a broken leg.
My pleasure, good sir. Now, about the basket.
Yes. Come inside.
So I guess we do have a dead baby.
Panel 2, Forest, Fog Rest, Seer's Cottage Day. Privial Gavin and the Seer sits around his kitchen table, atop which sits the basket. Also, they're having tea and breakfast.
I analyze the spells on this artifact. They're more complex than anything that could be done these days.
So after all that, you can't unravel it?
No, but I can tell you that you may well find answers if you seek ancient knowledge.
How ancient?
From before the land was shattered?
Panel 3, the Seer continues ominously.
What I can help you with is your problem, Gavin. If there's anyone who's sure to know the answer, it's Marzana. A red wheelhouse in a wretched wood and the mesmerizing miasma of mycelium and petrichor, where Mother Marzana makes her manse. Nobody's seen her in a wizard's age, but if you can find her, and survive her trials, your people may well have a chance at survival. That was very repetitive. I need to edit that.
Panel 4, exterior, Fog Rest, Seer's Cottage Day. Privial Wisp Basket mounts Gringolet while Gavin speaks with the Seer.
I'll do it. I'll find Marzana and cure my people.
Do what you must, lad. Go north and turn west at the first crossroads. I suspect you may find your house somewhere beyond the neon forest.
Thank.
You'll probably die, but you have a chance if you don't. That's the best I can do.
Page 16, panel 1, exterior, the westward road, evening. The rain is back and heavier. Gabby and Privial soaked, shivering, and wrapped their cloaks about themselves with as much as possible to keep warm. Climb a muddy hill in the dying light. It's cold enough that we can see their breath.
Wah.
So cold. Panel 2, cresting the hill, our heroes encounter a decamped circus caravan. Walton and Gardner, Phenomena, and Epiphanies. Their tents are pitched. Figures mill about them around a bonfire. Privial points it out to Gavin. Look, a caravan.
Well met, fellow traveler.
Panel 3. Before they can move another step, Gavin, Privial, and the Gringolet are surrounded by circus folks, clowns, beastmasters, strongmen, freaks, and geeks of various fantasy races. These folks are surprisingly well armed. Our heroes all have their backs to each other, but they're not defending themselves.
Who be travelers, and what be your business? And why the elf should we let you live?
Panel 4, Privial passes out, falling straight backwards into Gavin's arms. He barely catches her.
Trivial, no.
Panel 5, Gavin gets on his knees, crying as he cradled Privial's head in his lap and revealing the goblin baby in the basket with the other. He's an awful liar, but thankfully it's dark and rainy.
Peace, friends. We mean you no harm. I pledge to protect this woman from her evil stepfather, who hounds our footsteps as we speak, seeking the child he forced upon us. Please have mercy on us. We'll work hard to earn our keep. Okay, that's what we got.
That's what we got.
So, well, we had a baby be kidnapped by a goat spider, and that certainly got me interested in what happened to the baby. You know, that would be constructive. But so,
I mean,
you know,
it got ate by the goat spider.
What?
It got ate.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He got eaten.
But
did it say that or no?
No, we don't. I'm not showing that on screen.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, all right. So that happened, and that was interesting. We have Gavin and Privial, and they're going back and forth about the quest, and they need money for the quest, and they are talking to people about the quest. That's what I got.
That's a lot of what happened.
Yeah. What about you, Barra?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. There was a lot of like RPG style names, and everyone's a witch and a sorcerer and seer, and it definitely has like a a vibe of that, kind of like an RPG fantasy story. They're on their quest. Without knowing the beginning, they're trying to undo a curse and cure a disease, the Black Tongue, I think, right? Is that correct? Yeah.
Good memory
And
there.
they're going, kind of wizard hut to witch's place to try to figure out what the next best step is on their hunt. I think that there's not a lot of like um, you know like surprise stuff in there. Like it kind of just seems a little bit like they're going from this hut to that hut, but there's no like side adventure. Like I feels like maybe it needs a little side stuff. But I guess the spider was kind of like a side adventure. So
There's
maybe not.
also an entire like killing a cult full of baby sacrificing Satanists episode that we passed over. That's already been done.
Okay. Cool. I mean, overall, I liked it. It was a lot for me to like understand while I was reading it all too, because like, as you're saying it, it's harder to imagine. I feel like.
Absolutely. And as it turns out, writing scripts for 3-panel gags is really hard.
Yeah. All right. So I find myself having like some questions like about Gavin and Trivial and in regards to. I mean, I know they want to go on a quest, but they talk about that, and I know they're hard for money, but they talk about that, and I know they got a baby, and they're complaining about that, but I want them to react to the fact that they seem to have lost the baby. Did you show us them reacting? Because I don't remember it.
It did kind of seem like I skipped over.
What I was going for there is they didn't even know that there was a baby that day.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We got that. Yeah. But why didn't they know? I guess. I'm wondering how they came upon a baby that they didn't know was there. That they lost.
So the babies show up about once a week.
Okay.
And they were busy hunting spider ghosts and may not have noticed this one appearing. They don't really want the babies. I mean, once they have the babies, they are not assholes. They try and do right by the babies.
Right.
Which costs them money.
Okay.
They're trying to figure out how to destroy the basket if they can. Like, can we do this? Can we do that? Can do whatever?
Okay.
That's sort of.
Oh, okay. That's. I mean, I feel like you owe us. I feel like you. I mean, look, it's cool that they don't know the baby dies. But at the same time, I feel like you at least owe us a later thing of wait, wasn't there a? Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like that.
That is a good point. And of course, I don't actually want my protagonist to be like
completely callous to baby death.
Yeah.
Completely not give a damn. I find myself wondering what Gavin wants out of all this.
So obviously he's trying to save his people, but also he's very desperate to escape a very clingy potential fiance,
right?
Who he finds very annoying because he's very young, and also possibly she is very annoying. I don't really meaningfully introduce her until the end of this volume.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess Gavin's struggles tend to be off screen, and he's out here living the hard life. Gavin seems above a lot, I think is what I'm saying.
Sorry?
Gavin seems detached a bit. Like he's concerned about going back to civilization because there's a marriage he's trying to avoid. So he's kind of playing hooky by being an adventurer, I suppose.
Yeah.
And he's avoiding his responsibilities. But now that he's here, I'm not sure what he cares about here.
That's sort of his arc through the first volume, is getting to that.
Right.
Because he's running away from things at the beginning.
Right.
Right? By like, oh, I'm going to go help other people and blah, 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 blah. Like, sure, whatever, man, but you're still running away. And fine, there's a social system that enables this, but mostly he's got, and maybe, I mean, it's been a while since we did issue 1 anyways, and also it's been rewritten a bit since then, so he addresses the curse thing a little bit more strongly in the newest revision in the dialogue. So he does care about people, but like very much in the abstract sense, and less so on a personal level. And that's what he wants to do, is like, oh, I'm just gonna go like solve this thing because it seems like it would be really helpful. Bye. Because he's like 16, so he's being like wide-eyed and callow in that, like, I'm on an adventure and the world is just freaking weird sort of way. Whereas Priviel is like, pretty much at the end of her rope after like a month of baby. Because that is obviously frustrating.
Okay. I guess I'm just looking for more emotional weight to the things. Yeah. I mean, look, as I commented,
you recall the
when the baby's getting taken up by the spider. Yeah, but I had emotions. They're like, oh my goodness, the baby and the spider. But and then unfortunately, Gavin is like, whatever. And yeah, Gavin is kind of telling me spiders and the baby are not important. And all right, so this story I have a hard time connecting to, because the wants and the conflict is not necessarily inherently obvious in some of the scenes. I guess that's my main thought.
Not to be too defensive, I suspect it works better like on the page. I'm certainly struggling with I'm like writing gag comedy that works.
Yeah,
which is
that's
fucking
tough.
hard.
That's tough. Yeah,
so there's a bunch of that, and this is probably the gaggiest chapter of the story. Yeah, because I'm using the gags as an excuse to move our characters as far away from civilization as possible, as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Right, and also just deal with like the obvious questions about how magical is this basket? Yeah. What are they doing with these babies? Right, so I'm establishing that there's a trail of babies wherever they go. Whereas later on, we're slowing down a lot more for the episodes.
Yeah.
So like we've got like the big intro with the fight scene and bringing in all the characters that we were there for, and then a much more heavily sort of explorative and emotional touch point in the Cursed Cabin that we've already read, when everyone's like literally dealing with their worst fear, and and so the arc for Gavin moving into issue 4 is like he finds stuff that he actually aggressively wants to do. Right, he falls in love with someone, and that's like a big tragic thing. And there's some other scenes like that are, or episodes like that are sort of closing out the beginning of this story, where it gets everyone to like establish who they are and what sort of people they are in what kinds of weird, stressful situations. Which is at least how I wrote out the broad arc. And I suspect there's a degree to which bringing in scripts and bits and pieces is not helping you, Preston.
Yeah. Because you form these narratives where like the thing is referring to a different scene, which I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. There's definitely a bunch of that. I do understand how that's confusing.
What type of creatures are they? Are they like wizards or witches? Like what are they?
Our heroes?
Yeah, Priviel and Gavin.
They are an Indiana Jones rogue and a young knight.
Okay, cool.
So they're not magical. This is a fairly low magic world. So they're not going to do a lot of magical things. There's, I think that you might have been here for another scene I wrote where there's like weird potions with like instructions. Yeah. Like that's the most magic most people are going to see ever is a potion.
Okay, and they'll just eat the goat spider. That's not like a special.
No, it's it's a goat with 6 legs that spins webs. I mean,
Okay, yeah. And a normal thing to eat in that world.
sure.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
goat spiders exist in this world,
Oh, do they?
although they only have 4 legs.
Okay.
They
A four-legged spider?
No, a goat that has been genetically altered. This actually exists in real life.
Okay.
Genetically altered goats exist that their milk does spider silk things, and people use them to
Oh,
create.
I just thought you were
like,
gonna say an extra leg. That would be cooler.
That
You
would
get an
be
extra
weird,
lamb
yeah.
chop with
And
everything.
So I'm just putting
are
that one
these like
step farther.
Frankensteinian creatures that we made through science?
Yes, science has made hybrid goat spiders
Oh, wow.
in
That's
this
crazy.
reality, like 20
Okay.
years ago.
Okay.
You can Google this.
That's
There's
awesome.
a Wikipedia page for it.
Okay.
They use spider silk infused goat milk essentially as like a super strong thread thing. Because like if you could make spider silk in a higher quantity, it's useful.
Yeah.
Getting it from spiders is annoying and difficult and not worth the
Yes.
trouble.
Yes.
Thus, genetically modified goat spiders.
I love it.
Which I just think are great in real life, and also as just an image of a goat hanging on a spider web is freaking hilarious to me.
Yeah. All right, cool.
So yeah, I do like the note about maybe having the protagonist notice that a baby showed up, or maybe I might just get rid of the baby from that scene.
I mean, look, it's attention grabbing. You know,
I'm trying to like write something funny if I don't have something funny in the dialogue. Just put something funny in the background, or fantastic.
I mean, it's bold to try and make a child dying funny, but I applaud both. So
I mean, they do just abandon the one child. I guess they do like pay
yeah,
a fee to have it be raised by the friars, so that's not so bad.
no,
There is a lot of baby abandonment in this issue as well. I need to get that out of my system before I move on
yeah,
and tell longer stories. Right? So I need to like just deliver on the premise as quickly as possible so everyone feels satisfied.
So where did the basket come from? Why do they like have the basket? Is that established?
So in the flashback, Priviel is hired by some random people to figure out what's going on with this cult of baby sacrificing Satanists they found. And as it turns out, after they kill everyone in the cult because they sacrifice babies, the guy running the show really just had this basket and was cursed, and so he invented a Satan to get rid of the babies.
like you do.
Okay, so that's all explained though in the flashback. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say that part didn't make sense to me, but then why did they take the basket?
So they also had a bunch of money after killing the cultists, because it's a religion and churches sometimes have money. So she picked up the basket, put a bunch of money in it, and left after saving that baby. And now she's just stuck with the basket, and they try and destroy it, and it comes back, and that sort of thing. That's like the first couple of pages. That happens a bunch.
Okay.
That's like those 3-panel gags are like, oh, we destroyed it. No, we didn't. Okay, well, we threw it away. It came back. Okay, now we did this other thing. Why is there a baby in it? So it just keeps coming back is sort of the thing. Like, it is very cursed.
But what happens if they keep the baby?
I mean, it'll just produce another baby. Although I should probably show that it will indeed produce babies every week forever. It's horribly vexing and very cruel.
Yeah,
It's like maybe that's the curse. It just keeps growing a new baby because they haven't let one grow up.
Babies.
it is literally a baby making machine.
But like, if you're on a quest, if you had like infinite guys, like you could just start an army. You just like start raising them.
Yeah, except they're babies. What are you gonna do? Like put them in a catapult? That's not
how many experience points are they worth? All right, now.
Yeah.
See, that would be a joke. There you go.
That would be a joke if this were a slightly differently meta story, I would absolutely play that joke. I'm trying to play the world straight and just making the situation just like horrible, like a sort of like weird black comedy, more of a focus on comedy.
Fair enough. All right, well, sounds like you got a handle on it.
Cool. Yeah. No. And the notes were good. And I do like the ideas that you brought up on the crits. So everything else is just down to execution, which is a different problem. And there will probably be a lot of changes when that comes down to it.
All right. Well, 2 scripts. Any other notes, Bit?
Yeah, everyone should go back Cygnus Imperium, which
There
is
you go. Yeah.
doing very well. We've got like 8 days left to go. We passed one
According to the
special.
AI, you're going to be over here. I'll show you. The AI is, well, never right, but sometimes it's, well, if you can achieve these numbers, then that will be awesome. Let's see what it says. Share screen, Cygnus Imperium. Oh, yeah, no. Tab, there we go. Boom, I'm sharing the tab. Look at this, over 2,000 US, 97 glorious backers, and according to the AI, you're going to end up at 3,500 US. Look at that.
I would like that kind of money.
Yeah.
That's in Canadian money, isn't it? Though.
No,
Or
that's
no?
US.
No,
money.
that's US.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm tabling. I'm really pleased about this actually. I printed off some promotional bookmarks for the Toronto Comic Arts Festival last weekend.
Neat.
So I gave away a bunch of those, and then I ended up getting a waitlist table for Forest City Comic-Con in London, Canada, which is a couple hours away. It's like a one-day thing, but it's like a reasonably big regional event.
There you go.
So suddenly I have a table at that. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be able to meet, hopefully a couple thousand more people. And I'm not going to be some asshole walking around giving away bookmarks. I'm going to have a proper table and everything.
There you go.
So I suspect that's going to help.
Oh yeah.
And then
I'm actually going to be at Comic-Con this weekend as well, Duke City Comic-Con. If you guys are in Albuquerque, I got a booth there.
I'm not
going to Albuquerque.
Any showings for you this weekend?
This weekend, no. I took this weekend off.
Well, you want to see Preston this weekend? You can't. Come see one of us instead.
That's right. But next weekend will be Fan Expo Denver, and the following weekend will be Fan Expo Chicago. So I didn't want to do. I don't want to do Albuquerque, Denver.
It's a smaller
Chicago.
one too. Of the two cons in
particularly when I'm,
Albuquerque,
going
it's
to,
the
the
smaller
small
one.
con.
Yeah. The other one, the one I met you at, is the bigger one. The Albuquerque Comic-Con. Yep.
And New Mexico Comic Expo is supposed to. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing that. That's usually the Halloween weekend.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing that either. And they're supposed to be doing it. In, whatever they're doing or not doing is supposed to happen in 6 weeks. But we'll see. Anyway, I know New Mexico's got issues. But all right, everybody. I will see you whenever we have more scripts. And meanwhile, back Cygnus Imperium and Palace of the Golden Princess launches tomorrow on Kickstarter, which is an exciting place everybody should go.
All right. Night, everybody.
Good night.